Hello, friends. So, I wanted to talk to you about the astrology happening right now because big things are happening this month. Because of the limited space and time that TikTok allows, I'm just going to focus on Uranus. But there are other big happenings this month. Like later in the month, Mercury will go retrograde. We actually have three retrogrades happening this month. But anyway, um, to focus on Uranus and Gemini, this is a long term transit that will affect everyone. It just is going to vary how intensely and where it affects you based on where Uranus and Gemini is going to fall in your specific chart. So I do have a blog post about Uranus and Gemini and just the general transits for the first 2 weeks of July on my blog, which you can look at if you want to see how your sun sign or your rising sign will be impacted. The rising sign will probably be a little more accurate than the sun or moon sign, but you can look at all of those just to get an idea of how this could affect you. But the if you are Gemini, if you're Sagittarius, if you're Virgo, if you are Pisces, this transit is going to be hitting you because these signs are either conjunct or square that Uranus and Gemini. So, what does Uranus do? Uranus is the planet of surprises, upheaval, invention, revolt. It is basically where unexpected things happen when Uranus comes into play because Pluto is about changes, but they're slower, they're more gradual. It's like the erosion of water on the mountain, like the water slowly eroding away bits of the rock on the mountain. Whereas Uranus is more like a volcanic eruption or an earthquake that suddenly dramatically changes everything and you can't go back to how things were before. So, those, like I said, in the mutable signs are going to feel that really intensely. Gemini's, it's going to be conjunct your sun or your rising. And so you are probably going to be going through a period where you are going to be a little less conventional. You're going to have lots of sudden ideas and inspirations, and the way you express yourself is probably going to change. Like this is a time where you get to kind of reinvent yourself. So, but for those that are Pisces, Sagittarius, Virgo, it's going to be creating friction there. It's going to be pushing you out of your comfort zone. It's going to be kind of needling you to let go of things that you need to let go of and make changes in a particular area of your life. So, like, let's say it's in your 10th house, then those changes are probably going to be happening in your career. If it's in your fourth house, then those changes will be happening perhaps with your family or around your home, like moving out of state, for example, or moving across town. Those could be changes that Uranus in the fourth might bring. Or, a loved one having a sudden illness and you having to help take care of them, things like that. So, for other signs, those that are in air signs, so that's Gemini again, Libra and Aquarius. So, Libra and Aquarius, you will benefit from Uranus and Gemini. That is going to give you out of the box ideas. It's going to put some creativity and it's going to give you the ability to make changes that you want to make and for pleasant surprises to come your way. So, you guys will actually see some positive changes from that Uranus in Gemini. Sagittarius, this is probably going to be hard because Uranus will be opposite your sun or rising. So you will be, some of you will kind of flow with the changes because you'll realize this is creating spaces for things that you need. So there's kind of a push pull with opposites. Like it's kind of like with your opposite sign, sometimes you get along like super great and you balance each other out. Or you could just butt heads and just never really feel like you're like it's always a battle. For example, I had a relative who was Sagittarius and we would just butt heads a lot. Like when we were good, we were great. We were like two peas in a pod doing things together and having a great time. But when we did not agree, it was explosive arguments. So that's the kind of energy that you're talking about here. If you're a Sagittarius, you want to be careful too about how you say things over the next few years, like how you are approaching other people, because you may find that other people give you a lot of pushback, especially Sagittarius rising. Uranus will be in your seventh house of other people and also open enemies. And so if you aren't being respectful of other people's opinions and ideas, then they could give you a ton of pushback on what you're suggesting, what you're doing, and, just kind of get in your way. Now, some of that may be conscious and some of it could be unconscious. Maybe you just have differing opinions or different ways of doing things and they just don't want to do things your way. But just kind of being mindful of that, of kind of learning how to work with other people, will be important for you. Now, other signs, it's really going to kind of depend on where Uranus is in your chart. So if you're, you know, a Taurus, or if you're if you're a Leo or other signs, it's really going to kind of depend on where this is happening in your chart. I will say fire signs have opportunity with this Uranus and Gemini. There's a chance for creating changes, but you have to be conscious about it. You have to seek it. You have to kind of be more willing to initiate the changes and work with Uranus to change and let go of the things that you want to let go of. You could have some really pleasant surprises, possibly some unpleasant ones, but mostly overall, it's probably going to benefit you. Those that are in, the earth and water signs, you may have a little more challenge with Uranus and Gemini. This is not an element that you're comfortable with. And so it's creating changes that you may not feel prepared for. You may feel resistant to the kinds of changes that Uranus is going to create in your life. It really depends, like I said, on your individual chart, because even if you're, say, a Capricorn, you might have a lot of other planets that are in an air sign. And so it could end up working in your favor, even though technically, Earth and air don't necessarily go well together. So it's really just going to depend on your whole chart. But if you want to take a look at the article, then you can see roughly how these things will affect your sun and rising. Thanks.